This is Scott, Brian, and Doug of Brisco Hikes. We're in the Dolly Sods Wilderness. We've been out here for 3 days and 2 nights. We're sitting on the bank of the Red Creek. We've been hiking across the Red Creek Trail, which is behind you. Back behind us are the forks of Red Falls. I hope you enjoy the hike. We're at the Blackbird Knob Trailhead in Dolly Sods. We're going for a 3-day, 2-night hike. Should be a good time. Here we are at the trailhead, taking the Blackbird Knob Trail. Let's get the maps, the warning signs. It's going to be a good hike. Come to our first trail sign leading to the left. Take this on down. This is supposed to lead to an open meadow for a little ways. So far this has been a beautiful hike. Lots of different terrains already. We came from that direction, hiking this way. We decided it was time to stop for lunch, so we're going to head over to a campsite we found over this direction. We're going to set up and have some lunch. Found a little campsite that we're going to stop and have our lunch break right next to this creek. So we got a good water source as well. We just got done eating lunch, clean up the campsite. We're gonna start heading back. The trail is actually across the creek here, but there's a little path going down this way that we can get to it, because I think the path down here a little bit further actually crosses over this creek, so we're just going to head down this side of the creek until we get to the path again. It's pretty windy out here, so we're not sure how well you can hear us, but we've gone about 2 miles or so in 2 hours. There's been a lot of stopping. I mean, this place is absolutely beautiful. Around every corner we have another view, open into a meadow or going into a different woods area, whether it's pine or hardwoods. So it's been really great. We made it up to a trail marker here. So here's a sign. We're going to continue on to the left of us and follow Blackbird Knob Trail. And in a little bit, we'll come across Red Creek Trail, which will be off to our left. We're going to continue on down here for a couple more miles and then set up camp. Alright, so we've been hiking along the Blackbird Knob Trail, and it's looked like this for some ways now. And then as we come down this trail, it turns into this. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera, but that looks almost spooky compared to what we've been hiking on. Well, good morning everyone. It is day 2. We're at camp. We have pretty much packed up. We're getting ready to hike out. It was so windy yesterday, we didn't do a lot of video. We weren't sure that it would even really be, we would really be heard. And so I thought I would show you around camp a little bit. This is pretty much where we stay. No fires were allowed last night. So we got all that done. As you can see, we're just about packed up and ready to roll. From here, we're going to head on down to the river, get some water, and start the hike up the hill. Continue on to camp number 2. Talk to you later. This is probably our steepest climb so far. We're going to hike up here for about 1.2 miles or something like that before we get to our next trail marker. Well, we're continuing our way up Blackbird Knob Trail, and we stopped for just a moment to catch our breaths, and we turned around, and this is the view that we had. Now keep going to the right. Makes all this worth it. We've been following the trail along for a while, and it's found a natural spring, and the trail is now following this natural spring, which has been interesting, rock hopping, trying not to get our feet wet. So I'll take you along for a moment. I've got the camera strapped to my pack, so I hope it's picking up a good picture. We've encountered plenty of soggy trails on this hike. Here's another one. It's not too bad. But you'll be on a dry trail, turn the corner, and it's completely wet, which is what we just encountered. We have also noticed that there's been some really rocky trails too, so when you look at the map and you see that you only have like 1.2 miles to go, it can easily turn into over an hour hike just because of all the rocks. We came to the four-way point where the Blackbird Knob Trail that we've been following crosses with three other trails. We had to check the map, and we are going to continue on Breathe Mountain Trail 553, which is that way.
We were walking along, and there's this big old mushroom just hanging on this tree. That looks like you're going in and not coming back.
Yeah, we found a pretty soggy spot here in a little bog. Doug's testing it out.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
It's pretty sloppy.
Oh, look at that! Even just my foot got stuck right here.
Doug's got the right. He's got the right footwear on. Oh, it stinks too.
Oh.
So we're gonna head around this way. That was a well-worn side trail. We are not the only ones to have that idea. It's gotten very green. We went from being in spruce and pine to now we're walking through a little rhododendron tunnel. I don't know if we can see it on camera or not, but right up in front of us, in between the green trees, is a deer just watching us. Wanted to film another section of just how wet it can get here. There's some very well and strategically placed rocks along the way that and we are taking complete advantage of them. My pole got stuck in the mud there. I hope this is coming out at a good angle,
because I've got the camera strapped to my pack as we go through here, so I can use my trekking poles for balance. Wanted to give you a snapshot of the now rocky terrain that we have been walking across. Roots and rocks. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it's the parts of the trail like this that really slow us down. Watching where we're putting our feet. We're probably about halfway to our campsite for the night. I'm walking with the camera strapped to my pack again, but I wanted to give you an idea of just some of the terrain changes that we've been going through on this trail. Leaving a hardwood section of the trail and walking into a pine forest. It's just so cool. We're not sure if it'll come out on the camera or not because they're kind of far away, but there's three deer. One just popped his head up across the meadow there. We've been hearing the waterfall for a while, and get down here, you see in the camera, it may be hard to see through all the trees, but there is a river running and some falls that way. We're supposed to be camping down really close to the waterfall, so I hope to get you some better views of it once we get down the trail. The trail goes over there, which is where we are going. We just have to cross the river.
And as we're crossing the stream, you can see upstream. See how nice that looks? You can see the guys there and the campsite right off to the side. And a view downstream.
So we think we're going to camp here tonight. We've got our packs thrown down, exploring around for some places to put our tents. Maybe right here, maybe right where I'm standing also. It's a pretty popular campsite. We were exploring around a little bit more. You can see over here, people have camped all over the place around here. We came around the corner here. And you can see where Brian and Doug are sitting on that log is another waterfall. This is the view from our campsite.
So we're here at our campsite on the Red Creek, and we got some daylight left and a little bit early for dinner, so we decided to just kind of reflect on some of the things we really enjoyed about this hike. This will be our second night, so we leave back to the car tomorrow, and we were just going to discuss it, and we decided let's just go ahead and film it. I guess I'll start off. So far my favorite part about this trip has been at least the loop that we've done. We started on the Blackbird Knob Trail and then ultimately ended up here. We'll get back to the parking lot on the Blackbird Knob tomorrow. But my favorite part about the hike so far has been all of the different terrains we come across. It's like you go through fields, and then you're in a pine forest, and then you're back into a field, and then you're crossing over all of these rocks, and then you're in a, like a spruce forest, and then in a hardwood forest. You got creek crossings. It's just been really, really unique in a number of different scenery that you get to see.
I think one of the things that surprised me about this trail has been the number of campsites. As we've gone through, I mean, it's not just near water or on top of the summits of some of the mountains out here, but anywhere that there's a good spot. It could be in one of those spruce or pine forest, or it could be in a meadow, or next to a creek, or on the summit. There's some well-established campsites here. And it looks like, for the most part, they're being taken care of, which is nice.
Yeah, we knew about some of them.
Yeah.
Obviously from looking it up, but had no idea about the number of actual established campsites and really well kept campsites. There's lots of options here.
I think for me, one of the things that I like the most about this particular loop that we did was that there's water access every few miles. So I never felt like we were going to have to carry a lot of water with us, which cuts down on some of the weight, makes the travel a little bit easier. You know, we've been able to refill our water very easily, and for the most part, we've just carried 1 liter of water, drink it along the way, and refill it at the next water crossing, and there have been numerous. I think one of the unexpected things about this trail was the difficult terrain in certain areas with
Rocks.
where the trail is literally just a pile of rocks.
Rocks.
Yeah.
So some of that was made for some very slow going. Today we left, what time did we leave this morning?
Just after 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock this morning, and we came rolling into camp tonight around 5 o'clock, and we traveled 4 miles.
Yeah.
And we only stopped for under 5 minutes at a time for a rest stop, and we stopped for maybe 15 minutes to have a snack / lunch break.
Right.
Yeah.
But we've been hiking for 6 hours today to go 4 miles, and we were not dawdling. We were we were hiking.
Right. Yeah. The everybody knows about the bogs and how wet it could be in the Dolly Sods, but nobody talks about the rocks. And there was quite a bit of rock walking today, which also surprised me.
Yeah, it made it interesting though.
Oh yeah.
Certainly made it interesting and fun, technical. I would do this exact loop again in a heartbeat.
I would definitely do this loop again. I would recommend it for anyone. The scenery this is an A+ experience. The best hike I've ever taken in my life, hands down. Actually, speaking about, you said Dolly Sods, and how we expected it to be marshy. It was not as marshy as we thought.
Right.
There were spots where you were walking through mud,
Right.
but every trail I've ever hiked has been that way. I expected it to be miles of bog, and it was not that. Not here, not this trail.
Not this trail. Yeah.
Maybe at a different location here, but we were expecting worse.
Given the amount of rain that hit the area before we got here,
Right.
I thought it was going to be worse as well.
Yep.
So it's dinner time. I am having tonight the Mountain House beef stroganoff with noodles. I've got my water boiling right now. Brian, what are you having?
I'm having Jack's Drink Waters, Santa Fe cheesy beans and rice.
Right on. What's on the menu, Doug?
I have the Mountain House sweet and sour pork, which I've never tried before, and a glass of instant iced tea.
We broke camp this morning. It's day 3. It's been a good trip. This was a great campsite. Looks like I think we're heading up most of the day today, about 3.5 miles.
Hey, we just wanted to share about this river crossing. This is the first river crossing that we came to, and it's also the last river crossing on the way out. When we first were planning our trip to come here, we had read that there were multiple water crossings, and somehow we anticipated, well, because they're listed as fords, but really, as you can see here, all you have to do is just hop across these rocks to get up and out. So we had thought that we were going to be wading into thigh-high water. We were worried about, dropping our packs or falling in the water. But actually this is kind of a wet season. This is early in the season. There's been a lot of rain in the few weeks coming here, so this is probably as wet as it would get. Maybe after a storm, but it's not terrible.
It's been a great hike. 3 days, 2 nights in the Dolly Sods.
Hey, it's Scott, Doug, and Brian from Brisco Hikes. We finished up our hike earlier today. We actually dodged a bullet. We had great weather when we were hiking. It's raining now. We're sitting in front of the Fort Hill Motel in Petersburg, West Virginia, which is a great little motel to stop and stay at if you're in the neighborhood. What we wanted to do was kind of do a little wrap-up of what we went through on our 3 day and 2 night hike in the Dolly Sods. Brian, can you tell us about the trails or the names of the trails that we hiked on?
Yeah, so we started at the Blackbird Knob Trail, and we hiked that a little over 7.5, I think it was 7.5 miles. And then from there we took the Breathe Mountain Trail, I believe it was called, down to the Red Creek Trail. Took that back north to the Blackbird Knob Trail and just returned back to the parking lot. So it was kind of like a spoon-shaped loop.
So for only being 10 or 11 miles long, we were expecting to do it much faster, but we were only averaging actually less than a mile an hour. We expected all the wet and rugged terrain, but we didn't actually expect the rocks, the amount of rocks that we had to walk on.
And the slippery mud and weird angles.
Yeah, it was, we really went slower than we thought. So I think even though it was only, just under 11 miles, we still felt like we put in 3 days worth of hiking.
Yeah, we felt like we put in long days.
Yeah, we expected to have more time in camp to relax and talk, but really by the time we got up in the morning and hiked, we were hiking all day. We got into camp just, we weren't rushed in camp, but we would roll into camp at 5 o'clock or so and set up camp and make dinner, and then it was bedtime.
Yeah.
Another thing that I was thinking about reflecting on the hike was that when you're up there in the mountains, and we'd get up to the top of the mountains. The one mountain was like 4,000 feet, and you could see off in all directions. That was about the halfway point of the trail.
Yeah.
And when you can look out as far as the eye could see for almost 360 degrees, you could see, I don't know how far out you could see, but we guessed it had to be 10 miles in every direction. We could not see any man-made object other than one radio tower on a mountain in the far distance. You are hit with a sense of remoteness and vastness and a feeling of being alone that you don't experience really ever in your life, because wherever you live, even if you live in the suburbs or if you live in a rural area, you still have neighbors around you. Right. But up there, as far as you could see,
nothing.
It was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, you really felt small.
Yes.
So we highly recommend the hike. If there was anything that I would say could add to anybody else's experience, it would be one of the things that we ran into is that there's a lot of established campsites.
Yep.
And what we encountered in those established campsites was leftover trash.
A lot of trash.
And we packed up. We had a trash bag with us, and we packed out as much trash as we could find around the campsites and on the trail on the way out. But really, you could do yourself a favor by just packing out your trash and not ruining or taking away from other people's experience out there on the trail and camping.
Yeah, practice leave no trace.
Definitely. Practice leave no trace. This is Scott, Brian, and Doug of Brisco Hikes signing out. This is Scott, Brian, and Doug of Brisco. This is Scott, Brian, and Doug of Brisco Hikes. We're on the banks of the Red Creek. We've been hiking the Red Creek Trail. We're out here for 3 days and 2 nights. Behind us is the forks of Red Falls.
You didn't say where we were.
Hey, I'm Scott, Brian, and Doug of Brisco Hikes. We're in the Dolly Sods Wilderness. We're on the banks of the Red Creek. We've been hiking on the Red Creek Trail. We're out here for 3 days and 2 nights. Behind us are the forks at Red Falls. Take 5. Take 6.